The story begins with a man named Clay who used to be a member of a special forces intelligence unit called the Beehive. This intelligence group used to work on such special cases for the American government that even the ordinary departments had no idea about. Well, when Clay left the Beehive group, he started living a normal life by becoming a beekeeper in reality. He rented the garage of an old woman named Mrs. Parker and started raising bees and extracting honey there. Mrs. Parker was a retired school teacher who lived alone, and now she worked for a charity organization that helped needy women and children. She was very happy to rent her garage to Clay because Clay was a very kind-hearted person. One day after work, Mrs. Parker invited Clay for dinner. Afterwards, when she was working on her laptop, suddenly a virus notification appeared saying that her hard drive had a virus. There was also a phone number she could call to prevent her data from disappearing. So, Mrs. Parker called that number straight away. The call went straight to a cyber criminal gang. These thugs would empty the entire bank accounts of innocent people, pretending to be an antivirus company. As soon as Mrs. Parker called, the team of hackers hacked her computer, and now they were able to see all her bank details easily. Meanwhile, Mrs. Parker didn't have much knowledge about viruses and data loss, so she spoke to the manager, Carney, about fixing it. She couldn't understand why windows were opening automatically on her laptop. Well, Carney explained that this was all part of the company's procedure for removing viruses. After that, Carney asked Ms. Parker for her bank account details. "Can you give me your bank account details?" And Ms. Parker gave him the details. So Carney sent $500 to her account on behalf of the company. When she saw this, Ms. Parker was very surprised. $50,000? Blimey! Anyone's jaw would drop seeing that. But then Carney told her that he had mistakenly sent $50,000 instead of $500. He then asked Mrs. Parker to return the rest of the money. So, without much thought, she entered her password and sent the remaining money back to Carney. But as soon as she did this, her entire bank account was emptied in a few moments. Finally, Carney and his team's mission was successful. 7 crores. Seeing all this, Mrs. Parker was gutted because not only had her savings disappeared, but all the money of her charity organization had also vanished. She wasn't able to understand what she should do now. On the other hand, Clay took out the honey from the bees and kept it in a glass jar so that he could give it to Mrs. Parker as a gift. But when he got to their house for dinner, he realized that something bad had definitely happened here. He took great caution. Then he picked up a knife from the kitchen, and as soon as he got to the living room, he saw a very dangerous scene. Midge Parker was dead and a gun was lying near her chair. At that very moment, an FBI agent named Verona suddenly arrived there and pointed a gun at Clay. "Hands up!" Now Verona suspected that Clay was involved in Mrs. Parker's death, and the biggest thing was that Midge Parker was Verona's mum. So Verona called the police straight away and thoroughly investigated Midge Parker's house. After this, the police took Clay to the police station for questioning. Now Verona, despite the grief of losing her mum, was determined to get to the bottom of this matter. So she investigated the house herself. She saw that her mum's entire bank account was empty, and Verona realized that her mum had fallen into the clutches of cybercriminals. Now it was absolutely clear that Mrs. Parker's death wasn't murder because she couldn't bear the pain of losing all her and the charity's money. Finally, the police released Clay, and the next day when he got home, Verona went to meet him. She came to apologize to him for accusing him of being responsible for her mum's death. Then she told Clay about the cyber criminal gang who were taking advantage of innocent people, pretending to be an antivirus company. Verona said that this gang had been dodging the FBI for many years, and so far the FBI hadn't found any trace of them. Now when Clay found out about this, he immediately spoke to Beekeeper and entrusted him with the task of catching this gang. He was determined that he would get justice for Mrs. Parker at any cost. Soon, the Beekeepers got to work and started researching this gang by collecting all the information from here and there, and then in a short time they found out the details of Carney's fraudulent company and handed it over to Clay. Soon after, we see Clay arrive at the headquarters of Carney's company, DG, carrying 2 cans filled with gasoline. He easily removed the security guards from his path and went straight to the control room. There, he interrogated some people and then began severely beating one man. Finally, he warned everyone that from today onwards, none of them would steal money from anyone like Miss Parker. If they did, it would not be good for them. After this, he told everyone to leave the room and then proceeded to spray gasoline on all the computers. Just then, Carney and his goons arrived to attack Clay, but he easily defeated them all. After that, he planted a bomb there and told Carney that if he valued his life, he should get out. Moments later, a phone rang, and suddenly there was a massive explosion that turned their entire office to ashes in a few seconds. Now, after everything was destroyed, Carney immediately informed his boss, Danforth. He said that a man named Beekeeper had killed their security guards and bombed the entire headquarters, turning it to dust. Upon hearing this, Danforth became furious and ordered Carney to hire some thugs to take care of Clay. Meanwhile, Verona also received news of the explosion at the UDG headquarters. Hearing this, she felt a sense of satisfaction in her heart. Then, the next day, while Clay was working at the bee farm, Carne and his goons found the address of Clay's house. As soon as Clay left his farm, Carne and his goons destroyed all the beehives on Clay's property. After that, they chased Clay, but the truth was that Clay already knew about their intentions and was fully prepared to confront them. As soon as the thugs reached Clay's house, they suddenly attacked him. But Clay was no novice. He faced them with all his strength and killed all the thugs. Then, Clay deliberately spared Carne's life, only cutting off his fingers and leaving him alive. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Carne fled from there with his tail between his legs. During this time, Verona was still interrogating a man from UDG when she received news that her mother's house was on fire. She left everything and immediately went to their house. There she found out that Clay's garage had been burnt to ashes. Now, the FBI officer found a UDG company ID card among the bodies found there. Seeing this, Verona understood that Clay was involved in the UDG company case. On the other hand, when Carne fled for his life, he immediately informed Danforth that he had failed to kill Clay and that Clay had cruelly cut off his fingers. Upon hearing this, Danforth became extremely angry. He understood that Clay was no ordinary man. Just then, Clay suddenly appeared in front of Carne and attacked him. Clay tied him with a belt to the bumper of his car and drove off, taking Carne straight into the water. Meanwhile, Danforth was still on the phone. Clay picked up Carne's phone and told Danforth to be ready because he would soon reach him to settle the score. On the other side, we see Verona and her partner Matt trying to extract information about Clay's true identity from the US government databases. However, even after a long time, they found nothing. Then Verona calculated that he might be part of a secret government organization where he received special training. Perhaps even the FBI had no information about this organization. Shortly after this, Verona received news that the body of Carne, the manager of UDG, had been found tied to Clay's car in the water. Now, Danforth met a man named Wallace, who was previously a member of the CIA. In reality, Danforth's mother, Jessica, had become the new president of the USA, and Wallace was protecting Danforth at her behest. When Wallace found out that someone named Beekeeper was after Danforth, he immediately got to work. He called CIA Director Janet and entrusted her with the responsibility of extracting information about Clay. Now, Janet told him that Clay had retired from the Beekeepers group. At the same time, Wallace ordered Janet to kill Clay. Then, Janet spoke with the Beekeepers group and assigned a girl named Anna the responsibility of finishing Clay off. Later, when Clay was filling gas at a gas station, Anna suddenly went there and opened fire on him. But Clay also faced her bravely. Eventually, he cut off Anna's fingers as well and burnt her alive, which caused a massive explosion at the entire gas station. Now, so that no more officers would lose their lives, the Beekeepers sent a message to the CIA saying that they would no longer pursue Clay. Janet sent this message to Wallace, which meant that both the CIA and the Beekeepers would stay away from Clay's matter. After hearing this, Wallace had no choice. That's why he decided to take this matter into his own hands. He formed a team of Special Forces members and told them about the Beekeepers organization. Then the next day, Verona and Burr arrived at the devastated gas station and found Anna's burnt corpse. It seemed that Anna was part of some secret government organization, but Verona didn't know why she had come to kill Clay. On the other hand, Clay used Anna's severed fingers to open the lock to her house and hacked her computer. Then he tried Carne's phone signal and soon found Danforth's location as well. After that, he gathered several weapons and bombs from Anna's house and set out on his mission. Meanwhile, Wallace's Special Forces team had arrived at Danforth's building with the intention of taking Clay down. SWAT teams were deployed outside the building because they knew Clay would definitely attack the building. However, Wallace and his Special Forces kept the people working in the building inside, as if nothing had happened. An NSU company, which, like UDG, stole money from ordinary people, was operating in this building. Soon after, Clay arrived outside the building and, without wasting time, attacked the SWAT team. He was such a formidable fighter that no one from the SWAT team could stand against him. Eventually, he entered the building and easily blended in with the people working there. Soon, a Special Forces member recognized him and attacked him. Quickly, all the officers found Clay and started firing at him. But Clay, using his skills, killed them all one by one. After this, Clay pressured Rico, the manager of NSU, to reveal the identity of the company's owner. "Tell me, who is the owner?" Rico was very nervous and said that the owner of this company was a very powerful man whom even the law couldn't touch. But Clay replied that no man was powerful enough to stand against him. Clay declared that he would not leave alive anyone who committed such heinous crimes against ordinary people. Finally, Rico, in order to save his life, revealed the name and address of his boss. But at the same moment, Verona and her team arrived there and pointed their weapons at Clay. But this time too, Clay managed to escape. Soon after, Verona and Matt found out that the owner of companies like UDG and NSU, which stole money from ordinary people, was US President's son, Danforth. Now Verona realized that because of Clay, not only Danforth but also US President Jessica's life was in danger. As soon as Deputy Director Prigg received this news, he assigned Verona and Matt the responsibility of bringing Clay in, and the SWAT team increased the security of the president and her family. The next day, Verona and Matt, along with security service agents, arrived to provide security to the US president and her son. Today, they were going to hold a charity program at their bungalows by the beach. Despite the presence of the FBI and the Secret Security Service, Wallace was worried about Danforth's safety. That's why he called a team of great fighters, whose captain was Lazarus. Lazarus mentioned that he had killed a beekeeper before and had lost one leg in that fight. On the other hand, we see that Clay had easily entered Danforth's bungalow by hiding under a truck through a drainage tunnel. Soon, he killed a SWAT officer and then, after planting bombs in all the vehicles and changing his appearance, easily mingled with the people at the charity program. Over there, Prigg informed President Jessica that the owner of the company defrauding ordinary people was her son, Danforth. Then Jessica's brow furrowed, and she realized that all the money for her campaign had also come through these illegal means. Knowing all this, she became furious. During this time, Verona recognized Clay at the program and ordered the SWAT team to arrest him. Soon, when the SWAT team tried to arrest him at gunpoint, Clay surrendered and knelt down. But the truth was that this was also part of his plan. Because at that moment, he secretly detonated bombs in all the intelligence agents' trucks and suddenly attacked all the officers, setting out to kill Danforth. Over in the office, when Jessica received news of her son's wicked deeds, she decided to reveal the truth about Danforth to Clay and the whole world so that those innocent people could get justice. Over here, Clay entered the building and was brutally beating the secret agents and Wallace's goons. In no time, he reached the president's hall, where Lazarus and he engaged in a fierce hand-to-hand fight, which Clay also won, and now he moved towards the president's room. Just then, Wallace suddenly appeared in front of him. He wanted to stop him from killing Danforth, but Clay didn't listen and instead broke his fingers. This guy has a real love for breaking other people's fingers. Anyway, in the president's office, Danforth was extremely worried because his mother was about to expose his illegal activities to the whole world. Suddenly, Danforth became possessed and pulled out a gun, shooting Prigg. Then, at the same moment, Clay blew up the door of the room with a bomb and entered. Just then, Verona and the other FBI agents also arrived behind him with their guns. Now Danforth was terribly scared, so he took his own mother, Jessica, hostage for his own benefit. Took his own mother hostage? What kind of son is this? Verona told Clay not to make the mistake of harming Jessica and Danforth. By now, Danforth was ready to take his own mother's life in an attempt to save his own. In this difficult moment, Clay asked Verona whether the law was more important to her or justice for innocent people. Then, without wasting time, he shot Danforth, saving Jessica's life, and then broke through a window and fled. From this window, Verona could have shot Clay and finished him off, but she stopped herself. The truth was that she placed her mother's and the other innocent people's justice above the law. Finally, Clay's mission was complete, so he put on the scuba gear he had hidden on the beach earlier and then jumped into the sea and escaped from there. With this, the story ends here.